My mom is demanding that I share my inheritance with my step-siblings, but they never helped me out when I was in trouble.
Sharing of inheritance is the check and balance in life endeavors and is necessary for evolutionary change. It describes how assets are passed from one generation to the next. It might consequently initially seem surprising, then, that inheritance itself rarely included in life history research and my case is, so different. Do not mind me for saying all of this. By the way, I'm Chris, a 32-year-old businessman. I'm the only child of a mom, but my father has 4 other children with another woman. He got married to this woman with the approval of my mom just because her womb got damaged, and she could not conceive again. My mother loved my dad's second wife just like her own sister, and they do everything in common. Despite all of these, my father had worked all his life to ensure that we have the best of everything. He'd always tell us that he was working so hard at his age, so as to give us a better life, as he worked tirelessly to give us the best things that life has to offer. He gave us quality education, which is the best thing any man could offer a child. But unfortunately, we lost him to the cold hands of death shortly after his 75th birthday. My father knew what was right, and he followed the right and legal process. Being a man that ran a polygamous home, he knew misunderstandings might come after his death. Therefore, he made a will. And where there's a will, there's a hope. The lawyer came to the house to read the will to our hearings, and everybody heard what my father had willed them with their ears. Being the oldest and first child of my father, I was given the largest part of the properties. Reason being that my father and mother worked together to acquire his wealth before he even married the second wife. My father had a lot of money in different banks, but my step-siblings were given the largest shares of the money in the bank. The properties were shared to everybody according to what was written in the will. Everyone made their own decision on what he or she would do with his or her shares. The money given to my step-siblings was much more than my share of the money. They decided to spend their money extravagantly. They spent their money on buying cars, clothing, buying expensive jewelry, and living large. They were showing off at the streets with their money as if they were the richest people on earth. Sometimes it surprises me to see them indulging in unscrupulous activities, but that doesn't let them lose focus. I was pursuing a contract that was going to change my life forever, only if I could win the contract. But there was a problem. The money I had was not enough for the execution of the contract, and I could not even sell one of the properties because I don't have access to it yet. I'd run to those who I believe could lend me the capital so that I won't lose the contract. Everyone, though, I went to has developed an excuse or the other for not being able to let me borrow the money. At the same time, I didn't want to go to my siblings to ask them if they could lend me the money, but I have no other choice than to go to them and seek the financial help. I've been trying to call the second born of the family, whose name's Brian. Brian and I were the closest of all family members, so I want to approach them through him, hoping it all works out as planned. If I've known that, I will regret ever going to ask them for money. I would not have tried it. When I got to Brian's house and discussed with him about what I wanted to use the money for and the amount I needed, he said we need to go and see his other siblings and that he could not afford that amount of money. I knew it was a bad idea, but because I needed the money oh so much, I decided to follow him. There's a bar that they all meet at every evening to gist and talk about their lives, family affairs. They do talk about how their businesses are going and whatnot, how their wives and husbands and children behave. They would talk about the ups and downs in their life. Jessica, the first female, complained of her husband cheating on her to the extent that their first son knew that his father had different ladies he went out with. The 2 other differences in the marriage, but they know how they're managing it and setting things out amicably. On getting to the bar, we went there in Brian's car. When we got to the place, they are seated, and they all welcomed me well. We exchanged greetings pleasantly, and I was offered a drink, but I told them I would not take anything until I got to what I came to seek from them. They told me to chill, relax. Tara, who happens to be their last girl and their last born, said, "Come on, Chris, whatever it is bothering you, you need to cool off first before you let it out, so drink up, bro." When I saw the others supported her, I carried the drink and took a sip from the cup. I was expecting Brian to help tell them, but he just sat there and enjoyed himself. He did as if he did not discuss anything at all. I signaled to him maybe he'll look at me and get me to talk. When I realized I'm on my own, I just decided to speak up. They were discussing, then I just start saying this. Hey guys, can I have your attention, please? I want to tell you the reason I'm here. I haven't already told Brian about it, but because what I need is a bit much, then he said that we should come see you guys. I hope that you can help me. I'm pursuing a contract worth millions of dollars. I've seen half of the money, and I need the remaining half to complete the capital and win the contract. I promise you guys I'll pay you back as soon as I can. Please, I'll be forever grateful if you can all lend me the funds. Thank you. Immediately I landed, their mood changed. Brian was observing them, and well, I was observing them too. Waiting for the first person to talk. Instead of any response from any of them, they ignored me totally and focused on another thing. It was as if I just uttered rubbish, and they gave no response to at all what I've said. It was obvious that I was not welcomed anyways, and I didn't know what to say or do. I just remained quiet in my seat with a lot of things running through my mind. Then I saw Brian whispering to Jude because he was sitting beside him. Suddenly, he called on others and told them to say the amount each person can contribute so that they can give it to me and complete the money for the contract. All of them said they don't have any money to contribute. I felt the ground should open and swallow me instantly. I was embarrassed. I could not get up from the seat, and I buried my face in my chest with my arms folded. Brian said since none of them could contribute, he can't contribute either. He said he did not have that much amount, or even close to it, honestly. I have no choice but to carry myself from the site and head back home. I didn't know what to do or who to call until I thought of taking a risky step. The following week, my mom told me just to inform me that Jude bought a new car. When I heard about it, I felt so bad. He told me he didn't have any money to contribute to my contract. Now he's showing up in a brand new car? What a world. On the other side, Tara, Jessica, Brian, and his wife Florence just went on a trip to have some fun and blow off steam and shop in Paris. They bought so many clothes, shoes, jewelry, different stuff. When they came back, they gave the gift to whoever they wished to give it to. They gave my mom some clothing, a bag, some shoes, and some cash. My mom was so happy, and the gifts were enticing. She thanked them and prayed for them. Mom has been like a mother to everyone. She doesn't discriminate. She'll always say the truth about any issue or anybody concerned. So the whole family and people in the neighborhood respected her for that. The plan to get the money became a huge problem. Sometimes whenever I'm alone, I used to think the contract seems impossible. I knew the only option is either to get the money illegally, sell my properties, or use properties as collateral to the bank. I couldn't afford to get myself involved in illegal businesses just to make money, so I decided to talk to my dad's lawyer. He told me that I could not sell any of the properties because what I could do, though, is use them as collateral. I resorted to using them as collateral only if I would get them back in 6 months as promised. So right now, I'm stuck between getting the contract and not losing my inheritance. So I have to give it all it takes. I'm very sure that I'll win the contract and I'll make a huge profit from it. For 2 months, I didn't hear anything from the company. I went there to ask what was delaying them from awarding the contract to me. The MD told me that the papers have not been finalized, so I need to be patient and just exercise restraint. It was after the 5th month the contract was awarded to me finally. I was at my house watching a program in my sitting room when my phone rang. I picked it up and good news was said to me. Hello, Chris. You have been awarded the contract. Please come to our office to complete the signing of the paper. I was so happy and excited. I went to my bar, carried one of the best wines, and popped it. I called some of my friends who stood by me when I needed them the most. I thanked all of them for their support, advice, encouragement, and everything. The next thing is how to start the contract. Well, I started the contract and executed it successfully, and I made profit awesomely. I paid off all my debts, got the documents off the properties that were used as collateral, then I established myself. I invest in something lucrative that's essential for everybody to use, and will be bringing income every single day. On the other hand, my mom thought I was making money from the properties my dad left behind. In short time, I actually became a multimillionaire, but something happened. During that time, I was striving to survive, about a year and a half. Something happened to my step-siblings. Jude went into a business that caused him to sell almost all his properties. He now understands the feeling of how to raise money to invest in a business. Luckily for him, his siblings lent him part of the money. Well, he was envious of me that I've made wealth from the contract, so he wanted to get a contract or invest in a big business to get that kind of wealth himself. Unfortunately for Jude, after 9 months of not seeing anything coming from the people he partnered with on that business, it was dawned on him that he was duped. Jude thought of running away, but he knew it was not the best action to take. He confessed to his siblings that they were all mad at him. Brian feels like tearing him apart, but Jude has to control him and calm him down. Moreover, other people and the bank Jude lent money from were on his neck. He was running here and there to get the money. With all the money out that father left behind for us, Jude and his siblings could not account for anything tangible that they did with it. They sold their cars and jewelry to pay part of Jude's debts. Now, seems like the tables have turned. Jude and Brian came to my house to ask me for money to pay their debts. I told them this. Can you see how life can be and how the table can just suddenly turn? Look at how the table turned around. It's true, and saying that, quote, what goes around comes around. I told them the same thing they told me when I asked for help. I don't have any money. Jude went to beg my mom to come and plead with me on their behalf so that I can lend them some money. She promised them that he would talk to me, which she did. Immediately I saw her at my office that day. I knew exactly why she came. I knew she came to plead on behalf of my wicked step-siblings. I knew my mom has a special way of manipulating me to do according to her wish. But this time around it won't work. I told her I already know what she came to do, but I will never change my decision. My mom knew my weak point, and I know that she would come again, but for now my decision remains unchanged. After they did not succeed with Mom's first approach, the females, Tara and Jessica, ran to my mom again and cried. They were begging her to talk to me so that I could lend them money. They knew my mom is the only option left for them. Though it's true to obey one's mother, mothers are like our small gods. God gave them the same power over their children. Whatever a mother utters out of her mouth to her children goes a long way in the life of the child. When my mom called me and asked why I didn't help my step-siblings with the money, I said I didn't have the money. Mom flared up and shouted at me at first, but she later calmed down. How could I say such a thing when it's obvious that I have the money? She compelled me to give them the money, and she says it's a must that I give them the money. I ask her if she's forgotten what they did to me when I needed money from them the most. They embarrassed me. They told me they have no money. What if I didn't succeed in winning this contract and lost everything? What would they have come to ask from then? Would they even think of me, or how would I survive? Then I said to her this. Now you want me to give them money, so sorry, Ma, I can't help them. Mom, please, I am not giving them anything. They should go and seek out how to get the money I seeked myself. I discover my way all by myself, and they should do the same thing and see how it's easy to make money. When I saw that she's still insisting on giving them the money, I had to excuse myself from her house. She was disturbing me on the phone until I blocked her phone number and changed my number. Since then, nobody has disturbed me for money or, well, anything. I started focusing on my business and career, investing in different projects and establishing new companies. I've been lost with my mom and everything seems to be falling apart. I had to trace my steps back home to my mom after 6 months because she was all I've got. I couldn't hear seeing her having a lonely life. I went back to her, but I still maintain my stand on not sharing my properties with any of my step-siblings.
Alright guys, in my opinion, this story is the perfect example of karma. What goes around comes around. OP was in desperate need of some help to lock down this contract, And yeah, I can understand the perspective of, hey, I don't really know if this contract will work, so I'm not sure I want to give you my money. But the fact that it did work, and then they came back later and tried to get money from OP, it's just karma at its finest. Guys, I would love to know your thoughts on this story. Drop them down below in the comments section. If you're new to the channel, my name's Mr. Redito. I read stories every single day. If you were into today's story, click that subscribe button, and I hope to see you tomorrow. Once again, guys, drop your thoughts down below in the comment section. Have an amazing day, and I'll catch you later.